Hey, Carrie Knight here with Patches Pumpkins and Honey Farm, and today I'm going to show you how to make simple syrup for the feeding of your bees. And there's a couple different ratios depending on the time of year and what you're doing. I'm not going to get a whole lot into that, but one's a 1-to-1 ratio and one's a 1-to-2 ratio. And we just did our splits. We've got our beehives out in the yard, and those being new colonies with just a couple frames of brood and nurse bees and a new queen. We want to give them as much energy as possible to get going. So we're going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. That's 1 part water to 2 parts sugar. So you can see here that I've got a bowl with 8 cups of water and one other bowl with 8 cups of sugar. We're going to fill that twice. So basically all you need to do is get your get your stove started. We're going to heat our water. So what we want to do is we want to get the water a little warm. We don't want to add that sugar to the cold water just yet. By raising the temperature of the water, we're going to aid in the ability to dissolve that sugar. We don't necessarily need to boil the water. We're just trying to, at this point, heat the water enough that we can get full suspension of the sugar into the water. So what you want to do is, especially like where I'm at with a gas stove, we want to make sure that we're not scorching the sugar. So we want to get that water hot and then pour it in a little bit at a time. So I'll come back in a little bit when the water's warmed up a little bit, and we'll start putting the sugar in. Okay, it's only been a couple minutes and our water is already starting to get on the warm side. So we're going to go ahead and start adding sugar. And I'll do the first couple shots from that direction, and then I'll do the other couple from looking down in so you can see what's happening inside the kettle here. But basically we're just going to pour two or so cups, a nice long wooden spoon. And the whole point is to keep stirring. And it's going to look milky at first, and then eventually it's going to become more translucent. So translucent meaning you can see through it. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty simple. You don't want to really scorch it or burn it, or you just want to heat it enough where you can dissolve the sugar and, you know, keep stirring it, keep working at it, and that's it. So I'll move the camera here so you can see what it looks like from the top. Okay, so here we're looking down in, and you can see that first little bit of sugar I put in, now it just basically looks like water. So we're going to dump a little bit more, maybe another third of that in. You can see how immediately it gets cloudy, it starts to look like sugar, you know. You just want to keep getting her dissolved, making sure it stays off the bottom. So right now we have 8 cups of water and 8 cups of sugar. So we're going to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So we're going to need 16 cups of sugar total. So we need another 8 cups of sugar. So I'm going to let that spin there for a minute. the real important part here is that you want to make what you need. Kind of, you know, if you only need a little bit, then start with 2 cups of water. If you need a lot, then make more. But it's sugar and water. It's not like honey. It's not 100% pure. It's not. It's going to spoil over time. So you really only want to keep it around for a little bit. You can use it for a couple weeks, but really I wouldn't keep it around for more than a week or two. I like to use mine right away. I like to make little batches as I need it, because that way, number one, you don't have to store it, and it's just easier. So then, okay, so there's all of our sugar. Okay, now you can see that all the sugar has dissolved. Everything's nice and it's all nice and clear. You can't quite see all the way to the bottom because now it's a syrup, so it's gonna block some of the light. But you can see that it's clear. It's a little runny right now because it's warm, but as it cools, it will thicken. It's not going to be as thick as like a corn syrup or something you put on your pancakes in the morning, but basically with a little flavor and caramel color, that's what you're putting on your pancakes in the morning. Artificial corn syrup or artificial maple syrup or whatever is basically it's based now with high fructose corn syrup instead of just plain sugar, but basically that's what we're making. So we are making feed for the bees because we've had a cold spring and nothing's out yet, and we want to make sure that we give them plenty of food. So we're going to turn off our heat and we're going to let this cool, because obviously we don't want to feed warm syrup to any of our bees. So let this cool. It's a good time once it's cool to add any, if you're going to do any kind of medicine or treatments to their feed supply or any kind of hormone or anything like that. That would be a good time to do it when it's cooled down just a bit. Still a little lukewarm, not completely cool, because that way you're not reducing the life of the medicine or the hormone, and yet you're it's going to be easier to dissolve into the solution when it's medium warm, kind of lukewarmish instead of completely cold. So that's it. Carrie Knight, Patches Pumpkins and Honey Farm, Adel, Iowa, and it is I think it's April 24th, 2013. So this is going to be the part of our series on life in the bees out here, how we do things. Year from we're following 3 hives from the beginning of the year to the end. So stay tuned.